Hey everyone, it's Rose. Welcome back to my channel. In today's video, I'm going to be doing the 20 questions book tag, which is a book tag to help you guys get to know me better as a reader. So we're just going to be talking about like my different reading preferences. Obviously there's 20 questions, but the last question is just asking me like who I tag to do this tag, and I tag anyone who wants to do it. So let's get started. The first question is, how many books is too many books in a series? I don't read a whole lot of series. The genres that I read from the most tend to not have books in a series. But I think personally I would start to get bored of a series if it was longer than 4 books. The next question is, how do you feel about cliffhangers? So you'd have to read series to experience cliffhangers in books. I think that I would be fine with cliffhangers as long as they plan to finish the series. I know it happens a lot in TV shows where like the season will end on a cliffhanger and then they decide not to finish the show, and so like we never get to find out what happens next. That I do not like. So yeah, I don't know. I think I would just say that I'm kind of indifferent about it just because I don't read a whole lot of series, so I don't really experience cliffhangers. The next question I feel like is on like every like book tag ever. It's hardback or paperback, and I like the way hardbacks look. Reading a hardback can be difficult sometimes. Also, hardbacks can sometimes be hard to like store or display or just whatever, and so I think at the end of the day paperback is most ideal. The next question is, what is my favorite book? And my favorite book is Birthday by Meredith Russo. This one is a YA romance that features an LGBT character. The next question is, what is my least favorite book? I feel like most of the books that I've ever read I like genuinely enjoyed. I've rarely ever given a book like 2 stars or like 1 star. But one book that I read last year that I absolutely could not stand was There's Someone Inside Your House by Stephanie Perkins. The next question is, love triangles? Yes or no? I love triangles. I feel like love triangles are one of the least liked romance tropes, but I actually really love it, and it might be one of my favorites. I don't know. I really love triangles in movies. I haven't read too many books with love triangles. I think I've only read like 2 or 3. I actually read a book earlier this year with a love triangle, and that book is like one of my favorite books that I've read this year. The next question is, what is the most recent book that you just couldn't finish? So there's actually been a surprising amount of books that I've tried to read this year that I just couldn't finish, and I think I have enough books to make an entire video about it, so I might do that at the end of this year. But the most recent book that I couldn't finish is actually a book that's pretty disappointing for me because I was really excited to read it, but it's My Best Friend's Exorcism by Grady Hendrix. The beginning of this book was just really boring, and when it did start to get a little interesting, I just wasn't invested enough in it to want to keep reading it. Granted, I was in a reading slump. I feel like in the future, if I was in a different headspace, I would try to read this again, but I really don't know. And even though I'm probably not going to read this or finish it, I'm not going to get rid of this book because of how much I love the cover, which I know is pretty shallow. The next question is, what is a book that you're currently reading? So I haven't really read much this month. I think I've only read 1 book so far. Like the day that I'm filming this, it's the 22nd, I believe. I am in a pretty stressful time in my life. I have to take a test that will certify me or not certify me to like be a food handler, manager person, because I do work in a restaurant, and like sure I know what I'm doing, but like corporate requires that we have 1 certified food handler on shift every day, and we don't meet that requirement. So because I'm a kitchen supervisor, like I was chosen to take this course to become food certified, right? And my test was supposed to be last week, but we had to move it because reasons, and so I don't know when it's going to be now. And literally this whole month I've just been super stressed out, and if I wasn't studying I felt super guilty about it and I just wouldn't do anything. Like if I wasn't studying for this test, I was either working or I was just like sitting here and not doing anything because I felt guilty doing anything else. So yeah, I haven't really read anything, and like I still don't really want to, but I want to, you know. The next question is, what is a book that you've recently recommended to somebody? I don't really give out recommendations that much. Like I don't know a whole lot of people in my personal life who read books, so like I can't really recommend any books to them. I don't really do recommendations videos on my channel, so yeah, nobody is getting book recommendations from me unless I'm sitting here saying like, this is my favorite book, or this is a book that I really liked, and then you go read it. I don't know if that happens. So yeah, I don't have an answer for this question. The next question is, what is the oldest book that I've read based off the publication date? A book that I read last month is Flowers for Algernon. This one came out in April of 1959. The next question is, what is the newest book that you've read based off the publication date? And the newest book that I've read came out in October last year. I read Uncomfortable Conversations with a Black Man by Manuel Acho. This one was excellent. Next question is, who is my favorite author? I don't particularly have a favorite author. Like, I've read books by certain authors where I would go and read their other books, but I haven't read their other books yet. Some of those authors though are Helen Huang, Taylor Jenkins Reid, Christina Lauren, so like all of your basic romance authors. The next question is buying books or borrowing books, and I kind of wish I could say borrowing books, but I don't borrow them. Sometimes I'll take my mom's books, but I don't end up reading them. I do read a few ebooks a year that I check out from my library. But other than that, I mostly buy books. Like, I'm pretty sure I've hauled like 60 so far this year. The next question is, what is a book that you disliked that everybody else seems to love? And I'm gonna go back to There's Someone Inside Your House. I don't know what it is about this book that people seem to like so much, but I just couldn't stand it. Like, I thought the main character was just stuck up and annoying, and it was just so cheesy. I think it's like that typical like 16-year-old, I don't actually know if she was 16, but like teenager who thinks that they're invincible and like smarter than every adult character in the story, like trying to go do whatever. Like, I think that's one of the most like annoying things in thriller novels or shows. Like, it's just so annoying. The next question is bookmarks or dog ear, and I do both. The next question is, what is a book that you can always reread? I could say Birthday by Meredith Russo. Like, I've reread that book more times than any other book. If I were to reread a book, it's always going to be a romance book. The next question is, can you hear music while reading? And I can, and I do it all the time, except for like if the music has words, then I cannot focus. The next question is, one point of view or multiple point of views? I enjoy both, but I think I like multiple point of views more than one point of view because you get to be in like both characters' heads as well. So like if I'm reading a romance book and we're getting the point of view of like the main character and like the main character's love interest, that's just gold. Like, I love like getting to experience what each of them are thinking about the other one. But like the only annoying thing though is when there's a miscommunication and like a whole misunderstanding that could have been like easily avoided if they would have just talked to each other. That part of multiple point of views is the thing that I don't like. But other than that, I do enjoy multiple point of views, especially in thrillers too, because then it like twists everything up into like just a big mess, and then like we don't know what's true, what's false, whatever, because like there's multiple sides to every story, you know. Anyways, the last question is, do you read books in one sitting or over multiple days? I mostly read books over multiple days. I hardly read books in one sitting unless they're like really short or I'm like super invested. But yeah, most of the time I read books over multiple days. So those were all of the questions. I should have said this at the beginning, but like if you want to let me know some of your answers to these questions, then leave them in the comments. If you like this video, give it a thumbs up, and I will have my Instagram and my Goodreads linked in the description for you. I hope you all have a wonderful day, and I will see you in the next video. Bye! And a book that I read last month was Flowers for Algernon. Ooh, I almost hit myself in the face with that. A book that I read last month is